Welcome or welcome back. You have entered the French Knot. I'm Tanya. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. And for those of you who were here last week or the week before, I just really want to thank you for all the likes and subscribes. It absolutely means the world to me. I sincerely mean that. Also, thank you to those who gave me some advice in regards to some of the questions that I had. Very helpful. I am going to get some of those color catchers immediately before I block anything else, because we are not going to have that incident again. Anyway, I'm coming to you from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. I'd love to hear where you're from. Drop down below, leave a comment, let me know. We're friends now. So today I have a little bit of a different video. I plan on covering it's almost a pattern roundup aimed at fall knits. Things that I think would be great additions to a fall wardrobe. So a little bit different than your traditional podcast, but I think very useful. And my hope is that we all get some inspiration and are able to come up with a list of things that we want to make and create. So grab something to drink. I have my coffee here. Look how cute this mug is. It says, I'm a simple woman. And it has coffee, yarn, and puppy paws. So I have my coffee. Grab your knitting and cozy in, and let's chat. So the first sweater I have for you is the Rosie. Now, this is a very popular pattern. I'm sure nobody is surprised that it's on the list. It is a pattern by Lane Knit, and it has generous size. It ranges from 40 to 63 inches, basically, with an intended positive ease of 7.75 to 12.5 inches. So very roomy. It has a stitch gauge of 21 stitches and intended to knit up with a DK weight. They actually use a fingering plus mohair to achieve that, which I think is what I would do as well to get that, that drapier look. Construction wise, it's really cute. It has this funnel neck that kind of, makes it very fall appropriate. Then it goes into a drop shoulder. And of course, it's top down, but then it has stranded color work of those beautiful roses that we keep seeing. Now, the key with that, or the caveat with that I'm going to say, is that I'm a little bit concerned, let's just say, because I'm not certain how that's going to work. I'm pretty sure that you're going to have to do some color work on the flat to achieve that. So I just wanted to go on record as to say that. But I think it's probably just a few rows and we'll get through it. All right. Now the next one is an oldie but a goodie. It's the Olga sweater by PetiteKnit. Now what really strikes me about this one, again, roomy fit, 40.5 to 65 inches, with about 9 inches of positive ease intended. She calls for a 20 stitch gauge that would be appropriate for a DK weight yarn or fingering plus mohair. Now this one has a very unique construction. If you look at it, it has a drop shoulder, but on the side of the shoulders is a very neat little band that it creates. A very nice little detail there in the construction. And then it's knit top down, of course, colorwork stripes. Now they feature it with 2 different colors, but you can easily swap out more colors and use leftovers for it. I mean, you can even make it into a scrappy sweater for that matter. You could use 2 colors, 3 colors, 4 colors. The sky's the limit. You could really create something unique with that. So that's on my list as a possibility. Next is the Lakes pullover. Now this reminds me of your grandpa's sweater that you pull on and just get cozy on the couch on a rainy day or walking through the leaves on a crisp fall morning. It is knit up. I plan to knit it up in a sheepy wool. I found a sheepy wool at Block Fiber Festival that's just natural colored. It's a nice natural brown, but it's so squishy and yummy and all the things you'd expect from a barnyard animal. That being said, it is designed by Ozetta, and its measurements are 40 to 67.5 inches. meant to carry about a 9.5 to 10.5 inch positive ease. So again, roomy. They call for a worsted weight yarn, which my yarn would qualify that it is a worsted weight. The construction, it's a saddle shoulder, knit top down. It has a crew neck, and then it also includes short rows to enhance the fit. Now, as you know, that saddle shoulder, you knit a patch basically, and you can use that as your gauge swatch. So just a little secret, because I hate knitting gauge swatches. I'm sorry. I know I should just get over it, but it's hard. Anyway, and then you just pick up stitches on that, and that's how you knit down to form the front and the back is off of this saddle that you create. So that one is definitely on the list of possibilities. That's the Lakes Pullover by Ozetta. Next is, you've all heard of the Porcelain sweater. I know you have. That's the beautiful sweater with the blue kind of a china print stranded colorwork design. This is the Porcelain DaMask, which is a spin-off of that. Instead of colorwork, it is textured. And so the design is achieved with knits and purls rather than colors. So I believe that would make it much more achievable to most newer knitters if they're afraid of colorwork. So that's, and again, you can make it in a very neutral color. So it can be very much a neutral, so a little elevated, and again, accessible to newer knitters. So I think it's a great pattern to have on the list. Size-wise, it ranges from a 35.75 to a 58.75 inch circumference with an intended positive ease of 6 to 8 inches. But of note, if you're going to make this one, note that the model that they show, they're showing with a 10-inch positive ease. That's a little bit misleading, but just be aware so that when you decide what size you want, that you take that into consideration. This is, again, it's a top down. It looks like a drop shoulder sweater with texture. Next is the Lumme by Sari Norland. I'm wearing a Sari Norland today. This is her, I'll insert a picture of it. This is her Luque. I think it's Luque tee. It's knit up with Knitting for Olive, pure silk, held double. And the colorway, I think this is natural. I think that natural, and then copper is the zigzag. It's a drop shoulder design, and it was a pretty easy knit. It has a little bit of what you would consider, I guess, lace work. These ripples would be. The only thing that was a little bit frustrating was that Knitting for Olive pure silk is sometimes a little splitty. So it's a little bit touchy sometimes when I was using my Haya needle. So I had to switch over to my Chiago, which are still sharp, but not quite as intensely sharp as the Haya. But overall, love the finished product. So back to Sari in her Lumme. This is a beautiful sweater with a floral design, or floral motif rather. This circumference on this sweater, it ranges from 31.5 to 63 inches with an intended positive ease of 2 to 3 inches. So not a lot of positive ease, which I kind of enjoy. I kind of like things to just not snug, but just a little bit less boxy. I think the boxy look is more contemporary and trendy, which I feel like I'm not. I'm getting a little old to be trendy. I don't know. What do you think? I think I'm a little old. So at any rate, I enjoy a little bit less positive ease. So this is ideal for me. The gauge on it is 18 stitches, and she knitted up in a worsted weight yarn. She used Cascade 220, which is a very accessible yarn for most of us. The construction is top down. It's a crew neck, of course, with a circular yoke. But in that circular yoke, she does include short rows to help with the fit and how it will lay on you. It does have it does have stranded color work, but it's only 2 colors, and so it's pretty simple, and it doesn't look like a lot of long floats. So I think for a newer color worker, I think it would be okay. I think it's a perfectly suitable project for a newer knitter just getting into color work. and that's the Lumme by Sari Norland. All right, next up we have the Harriet sweater. This is also a floral motif pattern. I'm really into flowers this season, I think. I'm not sure what that's all about, but anyway, this is another knit by Lay Knit. And it's, again, it has a nice funnel neck on it, so it's a very cozy vibe. So this one has a funnel neck on it, giving it a very cozy vibe. It's a pattern by Lay Knit, if I didn't say that already. Its circumference is a 44.75 to 63 inch circumference with an intended positive ease of we don't know, but it's shown in a very oversized look. And so I think you can kind of pick your own size, so to speak. I bet you, though, that it's at least a 10-inch positive ease that she has showing here, at least, maybe more. The gauge on it is 21 stitches, and the yarn weight that is indicated is for a lace plus fingering. Technically, you could also use a DK, I'm sure, but it's just going to give you a little bit different feel of the fabric. The construction, like I said, has a nice funnel neck. It's knit top down with stranded color work. It does have a drop shoulder. I think then the arms, it looks like, are raglan. So we have the drop shoulder with to give it that relaxed fit, and then some increases in the raglan sleeve. So kind of an interesting construction. I haven't bought the pattern yet, so I'm kind of guessing based on the description, but I think that's kind of what I'm seeing and what I'm understanding from what they've discussed. Next, I have another one by Lay Knit. I'm sorry, I probably should have spread these out a little bit, but here we are. So it's a terracotta sweater. Now, this one has a 38.5 to 64.5 inch circumference with an intended positive ease of 8 to 11 inches. So again, pretty roomy. Again, it has that top-down construction with the drop shoulder and then stranded color work. But what's unique about this one is, in addition to the stranded color work, we also have texture. So it's a mixture of the porcelain and the DaMask put together, and then we come up with this terracotta with texture and color and kind of all the things. So I think this one could just be really spectacular. So this is one that has a lot of visual interest, the opposite of the DaMask, which kind of plays down the visual interest by just using the texture. This one plays it up by doing the texture and the color work. So yeah, gives you other options. Next up, we have the Clematis sweater. This one is by Mare. It is it comes in a circumference of 30 to 58 inches with an intended positive ease of about 2 inches. So not a lot of ease. Now, that's interesting because this one has the diagonal opening with the buttons. And so if you don't get that ease right, you're going to have gaping buttons that you don't want. So I think this was a little bit touchy. So what I was thinking is, if you were to knit this, I wonder if you could, make the button band in the placard, but then sew it in permanently. Does that make sense? That way, I think you would have less of a risk of puckering and such, and you'd also, it'd just be less work, I think. I think you could have the open ones on the bottom, but then up here, have it almost fake. I don't know. What do you think? What would you do? I just think it might be a better fit. I don't know. Anyway, it's knit up at an 18 stitch gauge, which is about a DK weight. They recommend fingering plus mohair. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know on that one. What do you think? Or if it's just you hate it, let me know that too. Maybe we hate it. Next is an interesting one. It's called the Old Money Sweater. So this is your basic, elegant, simple Banana Republic sweater. Let me explain. So it has a crew neck, and it's basically just a plain sweater with just a little bit of texture right in the yoke. It is designed by Hinterm Stein, and the circumference on it is 34 to 61.25 inches with an intended positive ease of 2 to 4 inches. Now, when I look at this sweater, it just speaks elegance. I feel like it would look fantastic under a jacket. I think you could also layer it over a button-up blouse for kind of a layered look. There's just so many ways that you could wear it, and really, I mean, it would be a great office piece for sure. So this is very intriguing to me. I definitely would do the fingering plus mohair to achieve that DK weight, because I would really want it to be that lightweight, airy feel. But man, that's an enticing sweater. I looked at some of her other stuff, kind of did a little bit of a deep dive into her other works, and she has a lot of very elegant pieces. So if this is something that's intriguing to you, I'd encourage you to look at some of her other stuff as well. Next up, we have the Birkin. This is by Pendlestrik. I hope I'm not butchering that. It's knit up at a 28.5 to 43 inches in circumference, with an intended negative ease of 2 to 4 inches. Now, that is obviously not size inclusive, so that was very disappointing. And I'd be remiss if I were not to say that I considered not including this one. But it had so many beautiful characteristics that I felt like I needed to. So there we are. Obviously, nobody's forcing you to knit it, but it is beautiful. It's fingering weight with a 30 stitch gauge. It's knit top down with a set-in sleeve, so it's very tailored. And there's short rows, and there's that beautiful V-neck that's going to be very flattering with the double knit button, or double knit pocket, I guess it would be called, and collar. So I just am really disappointed that it's not in a larger circumference and more size inclusive. But that being said, that's what that is. That's the Birkin. Next up, we have the Stripe Hype by Veronica Lindberg, also known as Kuda Vakika. Now, if you don't follow her YouTube page, you really should. She is a doll. Anywho, this sweater is knit up in a 35.5 to 70 inch circumference with an intended positive ease of 8 to 12 inches. It has a 20 stitch gauge and is knit up on a DK yarn. And so there are just tons of options with this one too. It is top down, and it does have a drop shoulder. She shows it with, I believe, 5 different colors in the stripes, but I've seen versions of it in her samples where it's all the same color stripe or all different colored stripes. So you can make it scrappy, you can make it, more cohesive where it's just 2 colors. You could really do a lot to customize this to meet your yarn goals, so to speak. That's the Stripe Hype by Veronica Lindberg. Next up, I have the King Salmon Light Sweater. So we are going to extend Fish Girl Summer into the fall. So now we have Fish Girl Fall. I know Casey with Young Folk Knits is doing a knit along for Fish Girl Fall. If you're interested in that, this would be a perfect knit. It has a circumference of 36 to 72 inches with an intended positive ease anywhere from 3 to 14 inches. So that gives you a lot of room for customization and really tailoring it to fit how you want. The gauge is 26 inches, so that's knit up with fingering weight yarn, which is kind of a little bit of a slog, but it's probably worth it, right? So what I was thinking with this line is, how cute would it be to do a fingering weight solid for the background, and then for the fish, do a color changing yarn such as spin cycle, junction mill fibers, zobber ball, something like that. Or one of those 3 color changing yarns or any color changing yarn, I think that would be fun. I don't know. Is that just me? Am I just being weird? I just think it'd be so much fun and so unique. So I think it would be fun. Anyway, that is the King Salmon Light. There are other versions that are knit up in bulkier yarns, but this is just one I chose to highlight. Next up, we have the Electrine. Now, the Electrine is a pattern written by Johanna Gehrisch. It is 35.5 to 64 inches in circumference with an intended positive ease of 2 to 12 inches. And the gauge is 21 stitches, putting it in that roughly DK weight category. It's knit top down, but it is a saddle shoulder. And it has texture, it has lace, it has I-cord edging. It is really something else. And knit up in this color that they chose, this kind of matcha green kind of color. Oh, that is just really a delight. But I could also see it knit up in more of a neutral or play it down a little bit, but I love this color. That is, yeah. And then, yeah, that's gorgeous. It has those dramatic sleeves on it. Yeah, that's nice. Next up, I have the Beyond Classic shirt, and this is by Wool and Beyond. Now, this is the first time I've seen something like this. This is very unique. This is like your classic button-up shirt in knitwear. Never seen that before. It ranges from 41 to 62 inches, so nice and size inclusive. Positive ease, 6 to 10 inches, with a gauge of 24 inches. Or excuse me, a gauge of 24 stitches. It's knit up with fingering plus lace, and the construction it's a double knit collar with a cuffed sleeve, I-cord edging, and then in the end it's button up. I mean, you see it. It's so unique. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I've never seen anything like it. So very enticing. Very enticing. Next up, off the opposite end of the spectrum, I mean, that one was more like workwear. This one is more like come home and sit on the couch wear, which I'm all about. It's called the Optic Sweater by Molly Conrad with a circumference of 30 to 72.5 inches. She has an intended positive ease of about 8 inches and a stitch gauge of 16, which puts it fully in the worsted weight category. So that being said, it should be a pretty quick knit. It is knit top down. It has a circular yoke, Japanese short rows, and it's seamless. And it has a nice, generous hood on it. I can see this. This would be, okay. What I'm thinking is wearing this with a vest, hood up, Uggs on. How cute would that be? It just seems like the perfect fall attire. Add a pumpkin spice latte and you're good to go. All right. So that's the Optic sweater. Next up, no list is complete without a little my favorite things knitwear, right? So I chose the sweater number 26. I have had my eye on this for a long time. This one is 42 to 59 inches in circumference. The positive ease is recommended is 8 to 10 inches. And it's knit up on a 19 stitch gauge. They recommend a DK weight yarn, and to achieve that, they recommend a fingering plus lace. Now, this again is a saddle construction this is a saddle shoulder with a contiguous construction and drop sleeves. Anyway, this just looks like a beautiful, relaxed, everyday, cuddle up on the couch type of sweater that could easily be also worn into the office. So I think it's just ideal. I love that kind of wear. So when I work in the office, I'm a nurse practitioner, I have my own clinic. So I get to wear what I want. So I love to wear something that I can kind of dress up and then come home and throw sweats on, but leave the sweater on and just cuddle up on the couch. That is an ideal piece of knitwear, yes. So this might just be coming into my wardrobe. Next up, I have the Aureliano sweater by Claudia Quintanilla of You Knit Toronto. Now, I have her book, and when I ordered it, before I got it, I saw this pattern featured on A Friend to Knit with Leslie Friend. And I was like, oh my God, that sweater is gorgeous. And then I found out, oh my God, the pattern is literally in the mail. And so when I went to Flock Fiber Festival I guess it's this summer, it was in August, I picked up mohair for this. So this is knit up with 2 strands of mohair or lace weight held double. It has a circular yoke, short rows, and it is stranded color work. The circumference on it is 34.5 to 66.5 inches with an intended positive ease of 0 to 2 inches and a 26 stitch gauge. Now, when I look at the pictures of it, it looks like, I guess it's pretty close, but it looks a little bit roomier to me than 0 to 2. So just be aware. Be aware. I'm not 100% sure that her sizing in the pictures is accurate to what she describes in the description. That's all I want to bring up. But it's a gorgeous sweater. Next is the Kerr sweater. Now, this is more color work. This is a Rebecca Clow from Creabea pattern. I have not knit anything of hers, and she is such a prolific designer that I can't believe that I haven't. But I've heard such wonderful things about her patterns that I feel like I'm missing out. So I picked out a couple patterns that I feel like I need to add to the list so that I don't forget about her. And the first one is this Kerr sweater. I think it's Kerr. Beautiful color work. It goes right across the front. So the circumference on this sweater is 27.5 to 67 inches with a positive ease of 4 inches. It's a top-down crew neck with a drop sleeve and stranded color work. Now, I believe by looking at it, I think that the color work is all below the sleeve. So that is enticing, because that means you could do all the color work in the round. That's what it looks like to me. So correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think so. So that is Rebecca Clow of the Creabea, her Kerr sweater. Next, I wanted to bring a vest in. This vest has been on my radar for a little while. It's the Nordic Bloom by Caitlin Hunter. I know a lot of Caitlin Hunter too, don't I? I don't know. I guess you like what you like. Circumference is 37.25 to 72.25 inches. Positive ease ranges from 8 to 10 inches with a gauge of 16 stitches, which is kind of a bulky-ish weight. They don't really specify, but you could get worsted as well, I would imagine. Now, it's knit bottom up, and the color work is called to be knit flat, which is okay, but I was thinking, what would stop a person from knitting a steep edge in there and just knitting it in the round? I mean, you'd have to do some numbers and some figuring, but I think it might be worth it. Now, I've never actually steeked a garment before. When I went to the Farmer Daughter Fibers in the Big Sky retreat 2 weeks ago, I had a class with Andrea Mowry, and we learned how to reinforce a garment to steek it. And so I think that might be how I would do it, unless somebody can think of a reason why that wouldn't be appropriate. I just think that would make it so much more enjoyable than all that color work knit flat. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not a huge fan of doing color work flat. I can do it. I've done it. It's just not my favorite. Okay. For next, we're going to go over a couple of cardigans. The first cardigan is the Era cardigan by Irene Lynn. This is knit up to a circumference of 43 to 62 inches with an intended positive ease of 4.5 inches. The gauge is 19 stitches. The required yarn is, this is where it gets you. It's lace or mohair for the body, and then DK for the ribbing and edging. So it's going to be very unique, and I just feel like it could be one of those perfect transitional pieces. It's light and easy to throw on kind of those days that it's going to be cool in the morning and warm up as the day goes on. I just think this would be perfect. I'm really, really in love with it. Yeah, that could be beautiful. So that is the Era cardigan. Now next is the Champagne cardigan. Now the Champagne is more of a classic everyday cardigan. Something that everybody needs in their closet is the classic everyday cardigan. Now, of course, this is by PetiteKnit. I mean, she does classic, right? It's knit up in a 44.5 to, I believe it's 68 inch circumference with an intended positive ease of 11 inches. The gauge on it is 18 stitches, and it's knit up at a DK weight, and they use a fingering plus lace to achieve that. The construction is a top-down raglan with short rows, and it's seamless, and so pretty classic that way. What I love about this one is the button band. Looks to be double knit. The double knit button band just lends itself to be so classy. If I'm being honest, I'm not a huge fan of ribbed button bands. I just feel like structurally they aren't as strong, and they kind of lose their shape easily, and I just prefer the look of the double knit ones. And once I learned how to do it, I'm like, that's not that hard. It just takes a little bit of time. And so if time is all you need, that's no big deal, right? So that's the Champagne cardigan. And I just think knitting that up in a classic color is just chef's kiss to neutrality and wonderfulness. All right, another cardigan. This is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. That Champagne one, it can definitely serve in the office. It would be good enough for home. I mean, it'd be okay for home too. But this one, this is I think it's a Sari cardigan by Lini Hoimela of Urban Knit. This is a classic comfort. This one screams cozy rainy day. This is knit up to achieve a circumference of 44 to 59 inches. Positive ease intended is 2 to 10 inches. This is knit up with Aran weight yarn is the recommendation. She doesn't list a gauge, but I bet it's in the pattern, and it does call for Aran weight. It's knit top down. It has this beautiful texture on it. I just feel like this would be the most scrunchy, yummy, comfy cardigan that you own once you have it. I think you practically live in it. It's almost like a robe. That's the comfort level that it portrays. Just gorgeous. And then it has that tie. Oh yeah. So it has a tie for it as well. It's really pretty. It'd be very practical as well. And then lastly, another one by the Crayabea, Rebecca Clow, is the Leaf cardigan. This one is knit up in a circumference from 37.5 to 65 inches with an intended positive ease of 1 to 4 inches. It's knit up at a 20 stitch gauge and she lists, I don't really understand this, DK to Aran weight yarn. But that stitch gauge definitely does not seem Aran to me. It seems more DK to me, although she lists Cascade 220 as the yarn that she used, or recommends rather. So I don't know. I feel like given that gauge, it's more of a DK. Let me know what you think. Maybe I don't know. Just seems like it. You could probably get by with the Cascade 220, but I can't imagine an Aran weight. But the reason I love this one so much is Rebecca has this way of giving you so many options. And so in this one, there are three major options. Well, there's probably more than that, but there's three that I'm going to talk about. The first one is texture. She has stripes in texture, which I think is just such a very sophisticated, understated, elegant look. I just love that. And then the next look is this asymmetrical look where you have thin stripes on one side, solid on the other, which is a very fun, just kind of a fun, unexpected look. And then the third one that she shows is this wider striped one where the stripes are offset. And so that's really fun too. Probably the most casual of the three, if you ask me, but I love them all. If I had to choose, I would probably pick the one with the thin stripes with this on one side and the solid on the other, because that one seems the most unique to me. I don't know, which one would you choose? I don't know, it's a tough one. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed that pattern roundup, and I hope you like and subscribe and come back again. We should have a regular podcast next week where we talk about whips and woes and all the things. But until then, happy knitting.